might have been inspired by a strain of the fruit called white bark raspberries, aka Rubius leucoderma.
That looked like a blue raspberry to me, chat. And I'm pretty sure that's what it was. We're talking about it's not ripe. It was white bark raspberries. Might as well call it a blue raspberry. Look pretty pigmenty of blue to me. We are about to find out that one of the things that we have been putting in our mouth for our whole life is a lie, apparently. Blue raspberry is a complete lie. Now, listen, we all know the best flavors, the go-to flavors is watermelon. All right, watermelon anything is a banger. I have never tasted bad watermelon nothing. Strawberry, bussin'. Fruit punch, bussin'. Them three, you know you gonna have a banger. Now, blue raspberry do come in the clutch. I've never had bad or blue raspberry, but apparently it's a complete lie. So we about to figure out why. Let's get it.
Boy, oh boy, I love snow cones. What flavor did you get, Tom?
Grape. Do I have to say this? I just love it.
Oh, me.
Hold up. What? You don't love grape? Are you saying that you don't like grape because you're not? Let me continue the video.
Me too. How about you, Amy?
Tiger's blood.
Oh, you would.
What flavor's that?
Strawberry, watermelon, and coconut. Mwah, so good.
Oh, that sounds delicious. And what did you get, head editor Dan?
Blue
But
raspberry.
blue isn't a flavor, Dan. What flavor did you get?
Blue. Do you mean blue raspberry? He's blue.
No, cause blue raspberries aren't a real thing. It's not a real flavor. So again, I ask, what flavor did you
Hold up. Blue raspberries aren't real? Hold on now.
get, Dan?
Blue.
Oh! Ah!
Blue.
They changed up the music a little bit.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, where we always work towards the betterment of humanity. Theorists, we have got to talk about the unique culinary oddity that is blue. The color, the flavor, blue. You see, blue is the world's favorite color, and it's not hard to see why.
Really?
We tend to associate blue with positive things. The sky, the ocean, style theory, but those aren't actually truly blue. They're just the product of light
Hold up. Style theory. A new channel. Hold on. What?
refracting in a particular way. When it comes to things that are actually blue, scientists
raspberry is
believe
an
that blue is
artificial
the
flavor?
rarest color to occur in nature. This is because there are relatively few blue pigments that are found in the natural world. And because of that rarity, when they do occur, they're often meant to serve as a warning. I mean, just look at this cutie pie. Don't you just want to cuddle them up with those cute little blue rings and tentacles? Well, don't,
blue
because it
toad?
carries enough venom to kill 26 adult humans in a matter of minutes. There are also some species of indigofera plants, which are used to produce natural blue dyes, which contain a toxic chemical called indigo. Ingesting or inhaling the chemical can cause symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, and convulsions. And of course, there's the blue poison dart frog.
Yep,
I mean,
knew
with a name
about
like
that
that, I
one.
don't really think I need to explain how this blue is trying to scare me away. And yet, despite how unnatural blue is and how it's basically a big old red flag indicating danger, or I suppose I should say a big old blue flag indicating danger, when it comes to food, we humans eat it up. When M&M's wanted to revitalize the brand in the mid-90s, blue crushed the fan vote, beating the other two options of pink and purple with an overwhelming 54% of the
Bro, it's chocolate. The M&M's outside don't even taste like nothing. Every M&M tastes the same. It got the chocolate on the inside. What does it matter what color it is? Yo, people is wilding, bro. People is wilding.
11 million total votes. To celebrate, they lit up the Empire State Building blue, and that one change would go down in history as one of the company's most successful campaigns. More recently, in a fan vote for favorite flavors of Sour Patch Kids, Blue Raspberry took the crown despite being released 20 years after the original
Dang, that's
flavor
crazy.
lineup. It now gets its own exclusive flavor packaging. And before you say anything, it doesn't stop at candies either. Blue cocktails have been getting their moment in the sun.
Oh, yeah, that blue MF. Come on now. That's a banger.
Hannah Godwin of The Bachelor fame started a bit of a trend last year when she posted herself with a boozy blue raspberry slushie. It seemed like an innocent thing. Oh, blue cocktails are so in right now. But they are in, and they continue to be in, and they continue to dominate. Cool Blue? Yep, that is the highest selling Gatorade flavor, but I can almost guarantee that none of you can actually tell me what Cool Blue tastes like. In fact,
I'm gonna have to go taste it, man. I'm gonna have to go taste it. Yo, we're gonna make a video out of this. Come on now.
Of these blue things. What is their flavor? Yes, you in the back, I know that blue M&Ms taste like chocolate. Sit down. I
Exactly.
ask again, minus this food, what is the flavor of blue? Don't worry, I'll wait. What was that? Oh, blue raspberry? Yeah, sure, but what exactly is blue raspberry? You see, even though at this point we've kind of just accepted this as a thing that exists, when you stop and think for a minute, there are so many questions to ask about that unnatural concoction. Like, what flavor is it really? Blue raspberries do not exist. If you've seen photos, they've been doctored. If you've seen videos, they've been retouched.
That's not okay, listen. I used to go to this mechanic and he had a raspberry tree. Some of them came out like reddish, but other ones came out like a purplish. Like they were like purplish, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if
If you think you've eaten them, you are wrong. Blue raspberry is not real and has never been real. So then, what is this imaginary flavor that we all
listen, Mandela effect, okay? I've eaten blue raspberries, Matt Pat. I don't care what you say, okay?
love? And also, why did they choose raspberry, of all things, to represent this imaginary flavor? Raspberries aren't blue. There are perfectly good berries out there that are actually blue, so why not use them? You don't even have to taste the same. It's not like grape-flavored things taste like grapes. If they did, your blow pop would taste like a LaCroix. Your snow cone would taste like water that sat next to something sweet a week ago. That is the real flavor of grape. So why not blueberry for your blue candy? Why create a completely
Oh, it's because they weren't right? Hey, we was eating them joints, though.
new fake berry to describe a made-up flavor in an unnatural color of food? We live in a world where pudding now comes in flavors of dragon, unicorn, and mermaid. Sure, mermaid, all right, why not?
Hold up, mermaid. You might need to taste me a little bit of mermaid, you know what I'm saying? Hold on. Need to go look that up.
Now we know what licking Ariel would taste like. I mean, I would have assumed it was something closer to the saltiness of the ocean and not the cloying sweetness of this, but sure. All of this is fiction anyway. It's all made up. None of it is real. And wait, what's that? A blue Sour Patch Kids pudding cup? An energy drink? This stuff is everywhere.
Nah, this
so
is
today,
crazy.
we're diving into the history of blue raspberry. Why is this stuff so popular? Why for this specific berry? And most puzzling of all, what are you actually ingesting
Exactly,
when
we
you
need
eat it?
to
Well,
know.
friends, call me Reverse Morpheus, because today I'm about to show you the literal blue pill. As I mentioned before, no, blue raspberries aren't real. It's possible that whoever first had the idea to put raspberry flavor and blue dye together into the same food might have been inspired by a strain of the fruit called white bark raspberries, aka Rubius leucoderma.
That looked like a blue raspberry to me, chat. And I'm pretty sure that's what it was. We're talking about it's not right. It was white bark raspberries. Might as well call it a blue raspberry. Look pretty pigmenty of blue to me.
which takes on a bright indigo tint
Does that not look blue, chat? Does that not look? Come on, man. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
when they're at their ripest point. But these real things, yeah, they're not the color of blue raz as we know it today. They're also not typically cultivated at the rates where anyone would be mass producing.
It doesn't matter. It exists. That's what's important. That's what's important. I knew I wasn't crazy, bruh. I knew I wasn't. I seen it before. I seen it. Trying to talk. Come on, man. Trying to play me. I know what I seen. I know what I ate. Oh, I know what I eat.
extract from these things either, so that's not the real flavor here either. Notice though that I said whoever had the idea. You see, it's somewhat in dispute who first had the idea to pair this so-called raspberry flavor with blue dye number 2. Far and away the most commonly used specific shade of FDA-approved food coloring for this exact purpose, but it's believed to have first emerged as an eye-catcher additive to cotton candy and fountain soda at concession stands and circuses. Eventually it would be picked up and mass-produced by the frozen treat business in the 1970s. Two separate companies both claim to be the first to have capitalized off of the idea of blue raspberry. First, Icy, those frozen Slurpee
Okay.
drinks that you sometimes get at grocery stores or gas stations. Secondly, Otter Pops, the plastic tubes of liquid sugar that you get during the summer
Never
months
had
because they're
those.
cheaper than normal popsicles. But then no one has the scissors to open them when you actually want to eat them,
You
so
gotta
then you just
open
try
them
to
up
rip
with
them
your
open
tooth,
with your
yep.
teeth, then it kind of like splatters everywhere, and you're like, oh, now I got a mouthful of plastic, and sometimes there's like
That's-
the weird margarita flavor. Anyway, both of these claim to have been the first to make a blue raspberry version of their product. Icy already had themselves a blue element to their logo, so they didn't really have to change any branding. Meanwhile, Otter Pops went so far as to introduce an entirely new character to their roster, named Louis Blue, a blue French otter who carries a flower. Also, can I just say it at this point? I didn't realize that Otter Pops had personas, and it's kind of sending me right
That's
now.
crazy.
They even have themselves a line of Funko Pops. And why is the orange character sad? Oh, it's because she's an orphan. Oh, jeez. Is there
Oh.
Otter Pop lore that I have to be aware of here? Do I have to do an Otter Pop?
Hey, Matt Pat. You or Alex Bell, whichever one of y'all want to step up to the plate, need those.
Lore theory. What even is my life at this point? Okay, so now that we know who did it, why blue? Well, if you read online, most articles will talk about the difficulty of associating the flavor of raspberry with a specific color. Sure, raspberries in nature are usually some form of red, purple, or a shade in between, but
Yeah, but you don't want to mix it with grape, strawberry, and watermelon, because strawberry and watermelon, heavy hitter, and especially for those grape drinkers. All right.
But a lot of other popular flavors are also strongly associated with those exact same colors. You couldn't use purple, that's for grape. Red, that's usually cherry, which is why strawberry
Minecraft
then
was
has
good.
to be pink. Watermelon is sometimes green, unless the product line
True.
already has a sour apple variant, which case it's gonna go pink. But pink's already taken up by strawberry, and oh my gosh, already this is really tough. So yeah, raspberry had to be blue almost by default. It was the last pick on the field, the one that didn't have any other strong associations. And well, yes, this is the most widely accepted reason historically for why blue raspberry has stuck around as long as it has. There's another more fundamental reason for the presence of blue raspberry that everyone tends to overlook. People didn't want to die. Believe it or not,
Hold up, you said don't ask what were the Sour Patch Kids doing between 1933 and 1945. What were they doing?
originally most products artificially flavored with a raspberry tinge did try to mimic the appearance of raspberries themselves. Raspberry Blow
look
Pops,
too much like
Raspberry
grape,
Jolly
though.
Ranchers, Laffy Taffy, even Now and Laters. All of them started as red, but later changed to a blue color. Why? Well, if you're old enough or you have yourself some older relatives, you might have heard the stories about red M&Ms not existing for a decade because people thought that they were poisonous. Yep, that is a real thing that happened, and it was because of a real public health panic over FD&C Red Number 2, aka Amaranth, an industrial food dye named after its resemblance to red flowers. Amaranth was cited as a potential cancer-causing agent in several scientific studies published in the 1970s, which led to massive
On the rise, yes sir. That's Ayo Patrick GTA in real life. All right, we'll end on that.
bans of its use throughout the US. This public fear was actually so widespread that even foods that didn't use red
Appreciate
number
you,
2
my
like
boy.
M&Ms stopped making red products altogether because they were worried that consumers would fear all red dyes. But since Amaranth is a little closer to reddish purple than bright red, products that were using red number 2 tended to be raspberry flavored. So when the FDA banned its use in the US, the Raz suddenly needed literally a whole new image. And blue number 2 was just sitting there at the ready. And even though now with more sophisticated dye technology and way more hues and color nuances available, blue Raz got itself nicely established as the color for the raspberry flavor profile in pop culture. And in case you were wondering, the FDA considers blue number 2 to be among the least harmful color-related food additives. So
Hey,
now
man.
that we know the who and the why, it's finally time to get the what. What actually is the flavor of this made-up imaginary berry? Because spoiler alert, it ain't raspberry anymore. To understand what it is, we actually have to go all the way back to 1922 and a chemical engineer named Melvin de Groot. With his 900 patents, Melvin is often considered to be the second greatest American inventor behind Thomas Edison, and the ripples of his work can actually be found everywhere. For instance, the oil that gets pumped all throughout the US, left alone, it would wear away its transport pipes. But de Groot was able to find chemical-based solutions that made it less corrosive. But his work also crossed into the food world. He's rumored to have helped create magic shell chocolate that hardens on ice cream. He's also said to have secretly reformulated the recipe for Coca-Cola when any alcohol-based ingredients were outlawed during Prohibition.
Oh, so they took the alcohol in, put the cocaine in. All right, they took the alcohol out, put the cocaine in. You're done.
My Diet Coke addiction, thanks you, sir. But it's his observations coming from the early
crazy.
1920s that has me talking about him today. As the story goes, Mel went to the circus and observed that pink lemonade would consistently outsell the natural pale yellow variety. He later proved that most people couldn't identify a soda as grape flavored unless it was explicitly colored as purple. These
that's
were actually
crazy.
some of the first studies done on the relationship between color and flavor, and they showed that you could decouple flavor from natural color. Heck, you could decouple flavor from itself. Just say what people are tasting and they'll believe you. With a little bit of branding, you can make people believe that they're tasting anything.
no,
Enter
that's
the world
crazy.
of artificial flavors. If a human sense of taste is really so easy to control and manipulate, why not do that more regularly? In 1869, a German chemist named Konstantin Fahlberg accidentally discovered the sweet taste of saccharin while he was working in his lab. This then led to the creation of the first artificial sweetener, and from there, throughout the rest of the early 20th century, the use of artificial flavors and colorings started to become more widespread. One of the first and most notable developments was the creation of synthetic vanillin in 1874, which made what was his
Synthetic vanillin. Ha ha, that's what they called it? Come on now. Who y'all fooling, man? Franklin Saint done told me everything I needed to know, okay?
Historically an expensive and difficult to obtain flavor into something that anyone could afford and use, something that we actually covered in a previous food theory. World War II also increased demand for artificial flavors as the war created shortages of all natural products. This was a trend that would continue after the war then as demand for processed and packaged foods grew. But it was in the 1950s and 60s when food companies began to invest heavily in research and development of new artificial flavors and colors, resulting in the creation of many of the ones that we know today: grape, cherry, bubblegum, and yes, raspberry.
Bubblegum.
So what then is the actual flavor of blue raspberry? Well, when you look at the breakdown, there are actually 4 key components. The first is ethyl maltol, which has a sweet caramel-like aroma and is commonly used in the food industry to enhance flavors.
Okay.
Next up is methyl anthranilate, which has a fruity, grape-like or cherry-like aroma. Then it's isoamyl acetate, which has a fruity, banana-like aroma, and then they finish it off with
Banana
malic
aroma?
acid, a natural
I don't know how
acid
I
that's
feel
found
about that.
across many fruits, including raspberries, to give the candy a tart, acidic taste. And
Okay.
there you have your blue raspberry flavor with nary a raspberry in sight. So yeah, at the end of the day, blue raspberry, your favorite Sour Patch Kid flavor, has been a lie this entire time.
That's
There's
crazy.
no such berry. The color used to cause you cancer, so they made it blue, and the flavor is only what you think raspberries are supposed to taste like, which is apparently a mix of grapes, cherries, banana, and acid. Disillusioning? Yeah, maybe. Probably should have taken the red pill
That's
all
crazy.
along. As for me, I've always been more of a grape guy myself. And don't even get me started on the fact that grape doesn't taste like grape. Probably an episode for another day. But until that day comes, remember, it's all just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit.
Hey, man. My life has been shattered now. I had a wave of blue raspberry. I did. I'm more of a chocolate candy person. You know what I'm saying? And when I go to QT and get slushies, I put all the slushies in. The only one I make sure I add in is that green one, the sour joint. Gotta add a little bit of that in. I don't care how many different flavors they got. That one got to go in there, whether it's ready or not. But yeah, man. I might do a video trying blue raspberry and ask people, what does this taste like? A blind taste test. What is the taste of this? It's blue raspberry, and see how many people can guess. I think that'd be a good video.